A small copper disc minted in a year of political change and pop culture revolution. A coin in your pocket that, depending on who you ask, can be worth anything from face value to a dealer's dream. The 1974 Liberty 1 cent. Ordinary? Extraordinary? Myth-ridden. Today we are tearing through the smoke to find the facts, the tales, and the truth about what collectors should really care about. Welcome to the story of a penny that won't stay quiet. To understand any coin, you begin with context. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, replaced the Indian head cent and carried an emotional weight. A precedent on everyday money. By 1974, the Lincoln cent had worn many faces, but its core remained constant. Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. And for many decades, the wheat ears reverse. Then the Lincoln Memorial reverse from 1959. In minting circles, rising copper prices would soon force major changes to coin composition. But in 1974, most cents were still the classic copper nickel, or copper-clad mixes collectors knew. It was a time when mint production and the hunt for condition rarities guided the coin trade. The obverse of the 1974 cent is the familiar left profile portrait of Abraham Lincoln, sculpted after Victor David Brenner's original 1909 design. Why do production numbers matter? Simple. Availability in high grade. The more coins produced, the more chances to find one in pristine condition, but also more chances for small anomalies that collectors prize. In 1974, the U.S. mints that struck Lincoln cents included Philadelphia and Denver. Philadelphia issues typically bear no mint mark. Denver coins bear a D. The production runs were large, hundreds of millions, which means the typical 1974 cent is common in circulation. But as any collector knows, common coins can hide uncommon stories. High mintage years are usually not the ones that make world headlines, unless there's an oddity, errors, proof rarity, or a strange story that people retell until it becomes legend. And now, the myths. If you've lurked in forums, auctions, or YouTube comments, you've probably seen these whispered claims. Let's separate the myths from what's really true. Myth 1, 1974. Cents are nearly worthless except for a few that are worth thousands. Most 1974 cents are worth face value to a few cents for circulated examples. Even uncirculated examples usually sell for a modest premium. Small dollars to maybe tens of dollars, depending on grade. Thousands, only if the coin is an exceptional error, a sought-after pattern, or an extreme grade like a perfect MS68 or above, and even then, such sales are rare. That said, collectors sometimes misinterpret value. Rarity alone doesn't make something worth thousands. Market demand does. Myth 2. There's a no-mint mark version that's rare and worth a fortune. Philadelphia traditionally produced cents without a mint mark. In 1974, such coins are not rare. Where value increases is when a mint mark coin is misplaced, tampered with, or part of an error like a repunched mint mark, but those are different stories. Myth 3. All 1974 pennies are made of bronze. Some are silver. No, standard 1974 cents are not silver. Composition around that period was copper-plated. Zinc for modern cents, post-1982. And prior years used different clads and bronze blends. But there's no legitimate production of silver. 1974 cents from the U.S. Mint. Reports of silver pennies are almost always either altered or washed coins, coins plated with silver, or misidentified tokens. Myth 4. There was a 1974 error that doubles the face value automatically. There are indeed error coins from many years, double dies, broad strikes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and some 1974 cents demonstrate these. But not every strange-looking coin is a marketable error. Authentication by reputable grading services, PCGS, NGC, is necessary before invoking high dollar values. The key takeaway: myth spread because a kernel of truth becomes amplified. There were rarer 1974 pieces, proof coins, special die varieties, and errors, but the average penny in your couch cushions is still just a penny. Collecting errors is where the hobby gets fun. For the 1974 Lincoln cent, Several error types can command attention. Double die obverse, or reverse. Double die coins occur during hubbing when elements of the design are struck multiple times misaligned, producing a doubling effect on letters, dates, or devices. Some 1974 cents exhibit clear doubling, especially on the date or liberty. A strong, classic double die can add substantial value, sometimes hundreds of dollars for bold examples, but many apparent doubtless are minor and not market-moving. Repunched mint mark, RPM. Some Denver mint-marked coins show evidence of the D being punched more than once into the die. RPMs are collectible, especially pronounced ones and when authenticated. Off-center strikes and broad strikes. A coin struck off-center or with an expanded inner diameter due to collar failure, broad strike, can be visually dramatic. The value depends on the degree of off-centering and whether the coin is considered an error. Most are. A small off-center? Maybe a few dollars. Dramatic off-center with significant design missing? Collectors may pay hundreds. Planchette and clad errors. Planchette laminations, surface flakes, clipped planchets, or wrong planchette strikes, rare for modern sense, can produce collectible pieces. Again, authenticate first. Many surface defects are post-mint damage. Errors are where the 1974 cent can surprise you. But remember, provenance and third party grading dramatically increase buyer confidence and value. Grading is the slow, exacting science and art that separates a pocket penny from a collector's prize. Grades run from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70. For modern coins like the 1974 cent, differences of a single grade point can change auction outcomes. Circulated coins show wear on high points, Lincoln's cheekbone, coat folds, and the highest letters in Liberty. Uncirculated mint state coins retain sharp luster and full detail. Proof coins, struck with polished dies and planchets for collectors, often have mirror-like fields and frosted devices. Proof 1974 cents, though produced in modest numbers relative to circulation. Strikes are valued differently. Why does this matter? Because a single MS66 or MS67 1974 cent can be the difference between a $50 sale and a $500 plus sale at auction. Why? Buyers for ultra-high graded coins are scarcity hunters. They want perfection. Now to the big question. What will a 1974 Liberty 1 cent actually bring at auction today? Short answer. Almost always modest sums for typical strikes. Higher for exceptional grades or authentic errors. Let's break that down. A circulated 1974 P or D. Face value to 50 cents. Small premiums for better eye appeal. Uncirculated MS60, MS63, often $1 to $20, depending on eye appeal and luster. Uncirculated MS64, MS66, $20 to $200 or more. As grade climbs, demand narrows but unit prices jump. A specimen of proof. 1974, generally more valuable than average circulation strikes, especially when in perfect condition. Expect from $5 to several hundred depending on grade and eye appeal. A documented error coins, strong double die, big off-center, major RPM. Values can range dramatically. $50 to $1,000 plus depending on rarity and collector interest. Exceptional, well documented. Errors with provenance or top population in grading services can reach 4 figures on rare occasions. Extreme grades, MS68, MS70. If one exists and can be authenticated, prices can exceed $1,000. But these are extremely rare and should be viewed skeptically. Without strong third-party verification, auctions do two things. They reveal market truth and they create headlines. An unusual sale, say an MS67, 1974 cent getting $2,000, becomes a clickbait story. But careful collectors know to look at population, reports and whether the sale had unusual buyer interest. So you found a 1974 penny in a jar. What next? Don't wipe it with chemicals, and don't guess wildly at its value. Here's a step-by-step guide. 1. Handle carefully. Hold by the edge with clean hands or gloves. Oils from skin can damage surfaces. 2. Initial inspection. Look for doubling on letters, misaligned features, or off-center strikes. Use a loop, 5x 10x, to inspect the date and liberty. 3. Check mint mark, a D or no mark. Note it. Look for overlapping or extra marks indicating an RPM. 4. Look for proof. Characteristics. Mirror-like fields and frosted devices often indicate a proof strike. 5. Photograph and document. Good photos help when asking online forums or dealers. 6. Avoid cleaning. Cleaning destroys collector value. Natural patina is preferable to harsh abrasions. 7. Consider third-party grading. For coins that appear valuable. Major errors or high mint state. Professional grading by NGC or PCGS can unlock real market value and buyer confidence. If you're unsure about authenticity, consult multiple sources, coin forums, a trusted local dealer, or a reputable auction house. Coins tell human stories. Maybe a 1974 cent was stuck between the pages of a soldier's letter. Maybe it was part of a proof set bought by a newlywed couple. Provenance, the documented ownership history, can take a coin from curiosity to collector's lust. There are documented cases where a seemingly ordinary 1974 cent, when authenticated as a rare error and tied to an interesting provenance, sold for far more than expected. But these are exceptions, not the rule. Responsible collectors look at population data, previous auction results, and whether a coin's story is documented, not just conjecture. What affects value going forward? A few things. A collector demand, popularity of Lincoln. Sense and modern era collecting drives interest. A grading populations, as more coins get graded. The supply of certified high-grade pieces becomes clear. Rarer grades command higher premiums. Economic factors. Precious metal booms. Haven't historically made sense. Worth more, but they change collector cash flow and interest in tangible collectibles. Education. As collectors learn to spot real errors and avoid cleaned or altered coins, market sophistication rises, and prices for true rarities become more stable. If you're collecting 1974 cents, keep an eye on auction houses, population reports, and reputable dealer inventories. So what should you remember? Most 1974. Lincoln. Cents are common and worth little more than face value unless they're uncirculated, graded highly, or a true error. Myths inflate perceived value. Always research and authenticate. Valuable examples are generally either high-grade, mint-state pieces or documented errors, and both benefit from third-party grading. Or if you find a candidate in your pocket change, document it, don't clean it, and consider professional authentication. Coins are tiny history lessons you can hold. The 1974 Lincoln cent may sit quietly in a jar, or it might surprise you. But most of its real value comes from the stories it carries, the care collectors give it, and the eyes that look at it closely. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because next time we'll examine another common coin that houses uncommon secrets. Tell us in the comments, did you find a 1974 penny in your pocket? Post a photo, don't clean it. And let's look together.